Give me a
Yeah, I'll
evening. Welcome to the 2021 virtual evening with Freedom's Foundation at Valley Forge. I'm Lorraine Rinaldi. I'm a Philadelphia area native and resident, broadcaster, author, lifelong student of American history, and avid supporter of Freedom's Foundation. Thank you for joining us tonight during our 6th annual gala. Your support and participation are greatly appreciated. This event would not be possible without our sponsors, specifically our platinum sponsor, Freedom's Foundation board member and LA chapter member, Diane Deschamps. Thank you, Diane. Your generous contributions to Freedom's Foundation are very, very much appreciated. Since its inception in 1949, Freedom's Foundation at Valley Forge has recognized citizens from around the country for their example of civic responsibility, commitment to the Constitution, and contribution to freedom. Past Distinguished Citizen Award recipients have included actors John Wayne and Bob Hope, Chief Justice William Rehnquist, British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, Doctors John and Josephine Templeton, and many, many more. Tonight, we are honored to recognize William P. Benac Sr. and Mark W. Romney, co-founders of the DFW Alliance for Religious Freedom and the Lynde and Harry Bradley Foundation under the leadership of President and CEO Rick Graber. We look forward to hearing from each of our awardees tonight. At this time, please join us in the national anthem performed by Mr. Tyler Perry. This was recorded at our 2019 Freedom's Foundation Gala.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I encourage you to view the program book you received via email for a detailed description of our honored guests. You can also view the program book at freedomsfoundation.org or in the webinar chat. In addition to reading about our distinguished guests, you'll find a full list of tonight's sponsors and the evening's agenda. As you enjoy tonight's gala, please share photos of your watch party on our social media pages by using the hashtag FFBFGala21. You can say that 10 times fast, record that as well. We are Freedom's Foundation on Facebook and Instagram, Freedom's Foundation at Valley Forge on LinkedIn, and at FFVF on Twitter. Remember the hashtag FFVFGala21. Want to say hello to the Spirit of America attendees from North Carolina who are participating on Instagram. In addition to sharing your photos, please be sure to visit our online silent auction. Registration is simple. Just follow the link in the Zoom chat for a direct connection or get there from our website, freedomsfoundation.org. Once you're registered, you can bid on your phone while enjoying the evening and all our events. Remember, our entire auction is online tonight. The annual gala is our single largest fundraiser, supporting our many education programs. Every winning bid in the auction helps educate and inspire the next generation of young citizens. So please be sure to bid throughout the evening. All bidding will close promptly at 9 o'clock Eastern. Tonight's program includes introductions by Freedom's Foundation CEO David Harmer, teacher testimonials, messages from our distinguished citizen awardees, and much more. While checking on your current bids, please check out this video on the mission and programs of Freedom's Foundation to learn about who we are, what we do, and why it is so vitally important.
This is a unique film. It stars one of the true superstars of all time, a magnificent American flag, 25 feet high by 42 feet wide, one of the largest in the United States. It flies atop a high hill in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, overlooking the national headquarters of Freedom's Foundation. Legend has it that not far from that hill, George Washington slipped away from his troops to walk alone through the snowy woods. It was a desperate moment for the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. The nearby hills echoed with the sound of musket and cannon. Closer by, his soldiers huddled together against the bitter cold, their spirits as tattered as their uniforms. Faced with these thoughts, Washington dropped to one knee, resting his sword in the snow. And at that historic moment, the father of our country bowed his head in prayer, seeking greater strength from within. We should remember this moment in our history. We need to remember our great heroes and their dreams. If we lose sight of our past, we cannot hope to build a better future.
The founders of Freedom's Foundation were clear on their mission: create and build an understanding of the spirit and philosophy of the United States Constitution and Bill of Rights. They saw these remarkable documents as works of genius, born of war and revolution by the greatest minds of their age. Simply put, they changed people's expectations of leaders and government. Freedom's Foundation tells that story of great expectations to tens of thousands of teachers and students who come here to study civics and history and learn what is expected of them as citizens. They discuss rights and responsibilities. They leave knowing that America's spirit and philosophy are more than words on a 200-year-old parchment. They are a sacred promise, duties entrusted to all. That spirit and philosophy comes alive each time they vote or volunteer in their community or solve problems together, civilly and responsibly. Freedom's Foundation strives to inspire Americans to serve a cause greater than themselves, infused with the wisdom and goodwill of founders who embodied the virtues of respect, generosity, compassion, thoughtfulness, and accountability.
Hi, I'm Emily Blaney, and I am the principal of La Cañada Elementary School. Our school has been working with Freedom's Foundation for over 20 years.
Over the years, I've watched Freedom's Foundation defend and promote freedom. I've seen the organization grow, and I've valued my association with it. Be open to its message. Support the Foundation's work. Let its magnificent flag serve as a banner of hope to all who love freedom throughout the world.
It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Alan Gelzo, Senior Research Scholar for the Council of the Humanities, Director for the Initiative on Politics and Statesmanship for the James Madison Program in American Ideals and Institutions at Princeton University, and one of Freedom's Foundation's most popular summer program, graduate program directors.
Thank you, Lorraine. The Bradley Foundation was the inspiration of brothers Lynde and Harry Bradley two highly inventive Milwaukeeans at the turn of the 20th century who made devices for electric motors, rheostats, controllers, circuit breakers, switches, and motor starters. In other words, virtually anything electrical, into a work of art. By 1935, their company, the Allen Bradley Company, had offices in 37 US cities. By 1960, Bradley products were on a par with Westinghouse and General Electric. Lynde Bradley died in 1942, the year the Lynde Bradley Foundation was created with an initial gift of $50,000. Harry Bradley followed his brother in 1965, and in 1985, the foundation became the Lynde and Harry Bradley Foundation. The foundation's early charitable giving was centered in Milwaukee, with organizations like the YMCA, the Milwaukee Orchestra, and the Milwaukee Boys Club as its prime beneficiaries. By 1979, though, the foundation was giving away over $2 million a year, and its philanthropic reach expanded to include encouragement and support for a broad variety of philosophical endeavors, including free markets. Today, the Bradley Foundation makes grants in excess of $40 million annually to organizations that strive to restore, strengthen, and protect the principles and institutions of American exceptionalism. In 2004, the foundation created the Bradley Prize, honoring the achievements of a galaxy of American writers, historians, journalists, political theorists, and entrepreneurs. Freedom's Foundation at Valley Forge awards its Distinguished Citizen Award annually to a broad variety of Americans whom Freedom's Foundation holds up as premier examples of what is best about our great nation. Tonight, Freedom's Foundation extends that award to the Lynde and Harry Bradley Foundation in recognition of its extraordinary role in promoting American ideals and institutions. Receiving the Distinguished Citizen Award on behalf of the Lynde and Harry Bradley Foundation is the Bradley Foundation's president and CEO, Richard W. Graber, himself a distinguished international lawyer and former ambassador to the Czech Republic. Please join with me in recognition of the great work of the Lynde and Harry Bradley Foundation and in welcoming Rick Graber as he represents the foundation tonight.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gelzo, for that kind introduction. I should note that Dr. Gelzo failed to mention that he's a 2018 recipient of a Bradley Prize, a very, very well-deserved recognition. And I was so very proud to participate in the awards ceremony just a few short years ago. And thanks so much to David, the board and staff of the Freedoms Foundation at Valley Forge for the Distinguished Citizen Award. It means a great deal. I'm very honored to accept it on behalf of our entire team at the Bradley Foundation here in Milwaukee. I'm sorry we all can't be together tonight, but we'll make the best of it. We've all become pretty adept at virtual meetings, haven't we? You know, what makes the award particularly meaningful is that it comes from an organization that shares our commitment at Bradley to restore, strengthen, and protect the principles and institutions of American exceptionalism. Like the Freedoms Foundation, we believe that our liberties are secure and will endure only insofar as Americans value freedom. As such, we support educational efforts to give citizens the character, the habits, the knowledge needed to succeed in a free society. For our republic to endure, it's imperative that citizens truly understand the principles and institutions that are the basis of our freedoms. The Freedom Foundation plays a critical and valuable role in cultivating an appreciation of civics, history, and liberty. Your programs spark a healthy curiosity in young minds about our nation's founding and serve to invigorate the next generation of liberty warriors. The Freedoms Foundation has a rich history of developing and then recognizing model citizens. It was created because of post-war concerns about the future of the United States. Its founders wondered if Americans really understood the rights they had inherited, rights that many died defending. They were concerned whether citizens, particularly younger citizens, understood their role in perpetuating and defending those rights, and whether they grasped the responsibilities that were part of the American Compact. It seems striking, even prescient, that they raised these concerns when the wounds of war were still very fresh in hearts and minds. It probably seemed unfathomable at the time that people could so easily forget about the high cost of freedom. Yet it turns out more than 70 years later, their concerns were well-founded. Today, sadly, patriotism is at an all-time low. A January 2021 American Perspective survey found that only 34% of citizens are extremely proud to be an American, only 34%. For the last several years, the appeal of socialism has increased among Americans, especially younger generations. Meanwhile, support for capitalism has declined. The shift in view seems totally counterintuitive for a nation that has always embraced and celebrated a strong entrepreneurial spirit. Yet our youngest generation didn't live through 9/11 and has never experienced what it means to have enemies determined to destroy our way of life. They've always lived under the presumption that freedom will always be there. But will it? Consider what we have witnessed in the past year and a half. Lockdowns in cities and states have robbed millions of their livelihoods. Powerful teachers' unions have held students' education hostage, especially those who are most disadvantaged. And a damaging and divisive effort to view society solely through the lens of race and gender has taken hold. Cities have been rocked by riots, looting, and calls to liberate entire jurisdictions from policing. Cancel culture has claimed the careers of talented journalists, academics, and business leaders who merely expressed opinions. Nearly every American institution has succumbed to wokeness, from business to philanthropy to the military. Freedom's under attack within our own borders, and respect for American traditions and institutions seems to be disintegrating before our eyes. Without question, our values are on trial. At Bradley, we recognize that the principles and institutions that characterize American exceptionalism were hard won and can easily be lost. We know that our partners in this fight, organizations such as the Freedoms Foundation, the DFW Alliance for Religious Freedom, and so many others, understand what's at stake. It's incumbent upon all of us to find new and innovative ways to reach young people. We must instill in them a love of country and a real sense for what it means to be an American. The good news is that intellect, firepower, and truth are on our side. The pandemic has given us a real opportunity to make strides to ensure that civics is a core part of every K-12 curriculum. And thankfully, parents are more engaged than ever in their children's education after watching what's being taught and what's not during the past 18 months of virtual education. And they're putting well-deserved pressure on school boards across the country to prevent kids from being taught that America was founded to protect slavery, not freedom. They're demanding alternatives to the left's defeatist and inaccurate version of our nation's history as embodied in the 1619 Project. They're yearning for optimism and an acknowledgement that although America's past is not always squared with its ideals, we've made tremendous progress as a country. This is not the same country I grew up in, and that's good. We've been through complex, difficult times before. Freedom can and will prevail, but only if we sustain the ideals that have made this country the freest, most prosperous place on earth. In this time of uncertainty and concern for America's future, the Freedoms Foundation plays a critical role in providing parents, teachers, and schools with the important resources necessary to educate students about their duties, rights, and responsibilities as citizens. And thanks to organizations such as yours, I'm confident that tomorrow's leaders will indeed be prepared to fight the never-ending battle for freedom. Thanks once again for all you do and for this very distinguished award. I received it yesterday and am so very proud to accept it. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to the Bradley Foundation and Rick Graver on well-deserved recognition. We want to say hello and thank you to teachers participating on Facebook right now from Wyoming and from Pennsylvania. Speaking of teachers, many who participate in Freedom's Foundation programs were so eager to share with us the impact the organization and its mission had on them and as a result on their students. Following this brief video, President David Harmer will introduce our second award recipient.
Hi, my name is Thomasine Crouch, and I'm the history teacher at Blue Ridge Juvenile Detention Center in Charlottesville, Virginia. When I look for professional development, I look for two things: a chance to enhance my own knowledge and a chance to collaborate with other teachers. Freedom's Foundation has provided both. The speakers at the two seminars, as well as the online seminars that I have attended, are phenomenal. I have learned things that I never even thought of, asked questions, and the chance to do this is amazing. I have made friends, people that I have kept in touch with for the last few years, people that I can bounce ideas off of. And being introduced to the Medal of Honor Character Development Program in my field is excellent. Again, I teach in juvenile detention. It gives my students a chance to see that anybody can be a hero. Thank you, Freedom's Foundation.
I've gotten the opportunity to attend 2 different Freedom's Foundation sessions at Valley Forge. And I have to say that not only did the material that I learned there aid me as a United States history and government teacher, but the camaraderie, the setting, the materials, the way that it was taught, not only the Medal of Honor component, but also the character development component. These are things that I have had a great amount of success in bringing to my students and in bringing to my classroom. But really what Freedom's Foundation offers teachers is the opportunity to learn from other professionals, to, of course, learn content, but also to learn different ways of bringing our content to the incredibly different types of students that we have in our classrooms. And if Freedom's Foundation were not here to provide that, I honestly don't know where I would be able to get such valuable and such meaningful content that I could bring to my kids. So if given the opportunity to attend another Freedom's Foundation, I would without question. And if someone were to ask me very briefly why Freedom's Foundation is such a valuable asset, I'll simply say this. It's built by teachers, for teachers, to not only help other teachers, but to help our students. And when we're all working together as a group, all of us succeed, which for me encapsulates not only what the United States was really built on, but also what we need to do to succeed, not only as a country, but as a nation of different peoples coming together as one.
Good evening. My name is Rob Moore, and I just wanted to take a few minutes and express my profound appreciation to the Freedom's Foundation and my sincere gratitude for everything that you guys do for educators like myself. And now that I'm starting my 16th year in the classroom, I really appreciate it even more. For the past 8 years, I've been here at Eastleigh County High School, teaching United States history and world history. My primary population of students is English language learners and the recent arrivals from different countries throughout Latin America. The resources that I've been giving during my previous associations with the Foundation, a summer seminar on the Cold War, and this past summer's summer session on the Vietnam War, have been invaluable. We've been able to create vibrant, rich lessons that really help show my students what these conflicts were all about. More importantly, it's not just something in a book. It's something tangible that they can take into themselves as they become part of this rich tapestry that is the United States. And so it is my hope that this foundation will continue for years and years, because the resources that you provide are invaluable. Just like the pebbles that create the ripples across the pond. Right now, I'm in Southwest Florida. That's part of the ripples. Your ripples go all over this nation. And so I just want to say thank you, and I can't wait to have the opportunity to work with you guys again. Thank you.
Crescent Equity, an executive at Cerberus Capital Management, and Chief Financial Officer, President, or Chief Executive Officer of companies including American Railcar Industries, Kinko's, First Plus Financial, the Leverage Buyout Group at Odyssey Partners, United Credit National Bank, and EDS and GTE Finance Corporations. An experienced turnaround executive, Bill has changed corporate cultures, managed complex transactions, and led companies through growth, sale, and initial public offering. As treasurer of electronic data systems, Bill handled the capital markets aspects of its spin-out from General Motors, the largest in history at the time. He played an integral role in creating Sprint and Verizon Wireless. That global business experience informs Bill's service to numerous nonprofits focused on the arts, education, and international affairs, including Pathway India. Bill co-founded and is president of the DFW Alliance for Religious Freedom. The Alliance reflects Bill's profound respect for all people, regardless of nationality, ethnicity, race, gender preference, political affiliation, faith tradition, including none, and all other aspects of humanity, inherent or chosen. Bill considers the fundamental dignity of each individual the bridge that spans the fractured views and antagonistic ideologies that otherwise divide us, defining religious freedom as each person's unalienable right to believe, assemble, worship, and exercise faith as they choose, while respecting the rights of all others to do likewise. The Alliance has mobilized broad support to defend the rights recognized by the First Amendment. Bill and his wife, Barbara, who have 9 children and 23 grandchildren, returned last night to Dallas from Italy, where they participated in the G20 Interfaith Forum. For his exemplary civic virtue, Bill Benac now receives our highest honor, the Distinguished Citizen Award. Bill?
Thank you very much, David, for that overly generous introduction, for recognizing and honoring our work with the DFW Alliance for Religious Freedom, and for inviting my partner Mark Romney and me to be with you tonight. Mark and I join many others in thanking and congratulating dedicated team members at the Freedoms Foundation for your decades-long commitment to preserving the history, principles, and aspirations for equality and liberty on which our nation was founded. Just as Rick was saying. As a father and grandfather, I'm especially grateful for your work to teach and inspire generations of freedom-loving youth. As you said, we have a lot of them. My wife would be probably expecting me to say we have 24 grandchildren, not 23, but that number seems to keep changing. Last night, as you said, Barbara and I returned from the annual G20 Interfaith Forum held this year in Bologna, Italy, to bring together political, academic, and religious representatives of the world's largest countries and religions. The theme for the G20 Forum was Time to Heal, and the 700 delegates in attendance united to seek peace among cultures and understanding between the world's governments and religious organizations and adherents. The achievement of peace and understanding are goals to which citizens of the world can and should be committed. They are also the goals for which we founded the DFW Alliance for Religious Freedom in 2017. The DFW Alliance exists to support religious freedom and exercise on a grassroots level in Dallas-Fort Worth, and to encourage and support like-minded organizations across the nation. One of our goals is to inspire and promote individual action plans amongst private citizens, congregants of all faith traditions, and community groups. As we learn from history and see on television, individual and small group action can lead to social and even world change. The foundation stone for the work of the DFW Alliance, as you mentioned, David, is human dignity for everyone, everywhere. Human dignity is also the foundation for the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was signed by every nation in the world in 1948, the year before the Freedoms Foundation was formed, after the horrific events of World War II. 3 of the 30 articles of the UN Declaration explain and directly support our country's First Amendment objectives to foster religious freedom, free exercise, and freedom of assembly. In this time of political tension and intolerance, human dignity and religious freedom are envisioned by the founding fathers, is under attack. The nation has also suffered increased religious persecution and disregard for First Amendment rights during the COVID pandemic. It is our belief that increasing citizens' understanding of human dignity and the tenets of others' faith traditions can not only soften people's hearts, but will ultimately increase local, state, and federal support of our nation's founding principles. We can all support human dignity in our everyday lives by teaching and kindly and loving and expressing respect for the views of our friends, neighbors, and associates wherever we live, no matter how our political or religious beliefs might differ. In the end, this outreach will lead to greater civility, increased peace and tolerance, and better protection of basic First Amendment rights. Our neighbors are not just in our street where we live. They are in our clubs, schools, and churches, at our workplace, our tennis game, the store, and everywhere else we congregate or meet. Each of us can speak up in friendly ways to encourage acceptance and influence how our neighbors feel about and express their support of human dignity for everyone, everywhere. Emphasizing and expressing our respect and acceptance of each other's dignity and beliefs is very, where am I here? Is a very pleasant way to live and allow us to comfortably accept the many racial, ethnic, gender, and religious differences in our nation. These times require us all to put aside animosities for those who look, believe, or act differently from the way we look, believe, or act. Our recognition and expression of human dignity and respect help bring needed moderation and civility to our local and national discourse without in any way compromising our own beliefs or moral values. The deep-seated recognition and respect for human dignity will probably be the single most powerful force in bringing healing and overcoming the divisiveness we now encounter right here in the United States. This healing starts with each and every one of us individually. The Interfaith Advisory Council of the DFW Alliance represents faith leaders, lawyers, opinion setters, and many disparate interest groups from among DFW's 7 million inhabitants. To avoid conflict and ensure civility and unity of purpose in this group, we avoid political discussion and religious dogma and successfully focus on what we can do to support one another. Last year's summit was attended by 4,000 participants from many states, countries, and religious traditions. This year, Mark and I invite you to join us in Dallas on Friday, October 29th. An agenda and information about our speakers will be on our website later this week at dfwreligiousfreedom.org. Better yet, let's have a conversation about how you might help form an alliance-type organization in support of religious freedom in your community. We would be glad to help. It's been an honor to be here tonight. I do wish we could have been together in person and gotten to know one another better. For that, we'll just have to wait. As we say in Texas, thank you all for your friendship and your kind consideration.
Bravo, Bill, congratulations. Tonight would not be possible without our many sponsors, including our gold sponsors, board members Sandy Cook and her husband, Jim, Raymond and Barbara Blydenberg, the Sacramento chapter of Freedom's Foundation at Valley Forge, and the Foundation for Individual Liberty. Our silver sponsors include the Commonwealth Foundation, the Aziz Foundation, and PICO. Bronze sponsors include board members Steve Cotton, Jordan Clements, Shelby Scarborough, Malvern Bank, Kathleen McCarthy, American Philanthropic, and John Briggs. The generosity of these individuals and foundations means Freedom's Foundation at Valley Forge will continue to inspire the next generation of young citizens and their teachers through educational programs focused on the Declaration of Independence and Constitution, American history, the Medal of Honor, and character development that not only informs but also transforms the lives of our participants. I want to say hello to the Bradley Foundation following us on all our social sites, and to Rob Moore, who you saw in the teacher video, one of our teachers who is active right now on Facebook. If you're following us on Instagram or Twitter, make sure you use the hashtag FFVFGala21. Thank you for all your participation tonight. Before we move on to our final Distinguished Citizen Award, which will be introduced by Freedom's Foundation CEO David Harmer, I want to remind you that the online bidding for our silent auction is open until 9 o'clock Eastern. We will stop the auctioning promptly at 9 o'clock. We have a large selection of items, and all proceeds will help Freedom's Foundation continue to fulfill its mission. If you haven't looked at it already, be sure you check out the one-week beachfront vacation house in the Dominican Republic, the wine tastings in Napa Valley or Casino Mine Ranch, the Phillies tickets for Thursday night at Citizens Bank Park, handmade glass flags, autographed items from Olympic gymnast and silver medalist Michaela Skinner, and much more. Please keep bidding. Again, our silent auction ends promptly at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight.
Freedom's Foundation at Valley Forge teaches the history, ideals, and continuing relevance of the American founding. We challenge our countrymen to embrace the rights and the responsibilities of citizenship. To that end, we provide immersive, intensive educational programs here on our campus for students and teachers from across the country. The Distinguished Citizen Awards recognize and encourage emulation of exemplary citizenship. The first awards were presented here in 1949 by General Eisenhower. Mark W. Romney practices international transactions law, business litigation, and alternative dispute resolution with an emphasis on Latin America. Fluent in Spanish and Portuguese, he serves on the board of the U.S.-Mexico Bar Association and the Faith Advisory Committee for the Dallas Morning News. He is president of the Dallas, Texas stake of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and vice chair of Dallas's Thanksgiving Square Interfaith Council. He and his wife, Lynde, have 6 children, 20 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. In the current climate of acrimony and bitterness, when our founding ideals are widely disregarded and even disparaged, the DFW Alliance for Religious Freedom illustrates our nearly forgotten national motto, E pluribus unum. Mark Romney has co-created a burgeoning organization that respects diversity but cultivates unity, that reinforces commitment to our first freedoms, that strengthens and sustains the shared aspirations and mutual respect that must characterize our citizenry if our republic is to endure. For his civic service and the DFW Alliance's cultivation of constructive civic engagement, we honor Mark with the Distinguished Citizen Award. Mark?
Good evening. My name is Mark Romney, and I want to thank President Harmer and the members of the Board of Directors, the staff, and the invited guests and the previous recipients of the Distinguished Citizen Award of the Freedoms Foundation at Valley Forge. It is a distinct honor and humbling privilege to share the acceptance of the 2021 Distinguished Citizen Award with Bill Benac on behalf of the other co-founders and supporters of the DFW Alliance for Religious Freedom. This recognition is wholly a function of the support and enthusiasm of many people, not the least of which are Barbara Benac, Belinda Romney, the other two co-founders, Michelle Reed and Melissa McNeely. The Alliance could not be possible without the participation of many others in the DFW community, especially the many volunteers and members of our Interfaith Advisory Panel, which includes women and men of many different faith traditions, nationalities, political persuasions, and beliefs, who unitedly stand for the proposition that the precious First Amendment freedoms granted by the United States Constitution are worth the effort to set aside our differences and come together in an attempt to moderate and unify on those matters which can lead to freedom and fairness for all. As pointed out recently by David Harmer, the president and CEO of the Freedoms Foundation of Valley Forge, Federalist Paper number 55 explains, as there is a degree of depravity in mankind which requires a certain degree of circumspection and distrust, so there are many other qualities in human nature which justify a certain portion of esteem and confidence. Republican government presupposes the existence of these qualities in a higher degree than any other form. As such, the DFW Alliance for Religious Freedom seeks to bring together people of faith, business, politics, and general interest to jointly promote and defend religious freedom and exercise, not only in the DFW Metroplex, but also throughout the United States and the world. It's also there to encourage interfaith understanding through invitations, gatherings, meetings, and reciprocal visits across faith and religious groups. We seek to facilitate, to sponsor, and encourage cordial and mutually supportive interfaith interactions amongst faith adherents and leaders. We also seek to bring together public interest groups and parties of varying or opposing views to seek common ground and freedom and fairness for all. We promote civil discourse without discord amongst those with differing views and opinions on religious freedom and exercise, and we seek to foster and promote institutional and interfaith action plans amongst DFW religious and community groups to support religious freedom and exercise. In all of this, we seek to inspire and promote individual action plans amongst public citizens and congregants of all faith and community groups to support religious freedom and exercise in their daily lives and interactions. We also seek to engage lawmakers and jurists in defense of religious freedom and exercise. Above all, along with many of you, we solicit the help and support of Almighty God in securing and defending the right to worship and practice faith according to one's own beliefs and faith traditions. Thank you again for this distinguished honor. We are very grateful for this. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Mark, on your well-deserved recognition. I want to say thank you to Freedoms Foundation Los Angeles chapter, also following us tonight. And thank you everybody for your participation on our social media pages. As our evening winds down, please take another look at our silent auction. Bidding closes promptly at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Freedoms Foundation would like to take this opportunity to thank and recognize several board members who have completed their term as a member of the board of directors. John Heenan, Colonel Walter J. Marm Jr., Chris Rothy, and Diane Saylor. Your unwavering service and participation at Freedoms Foundation is greatly appreciated. We extend another heartfelt thank you to everyone who made tonight possible, including our board members, sponsors, donors, participants, and our staff. Special thanks to Joe Yanni Jr. and Kira Foley-Tusman from the Union League Legacy Foundation for invaluable and monumental assistance with tonight's gala. We'll close this evening, as we always do, with God Bless America, which was also recorded at our Freedoms Foundation 2019 Gala. Following the performance of God Bless America, we invite you to listen to a few of our students and their thoughts on Freedoms Foundation. Thank you so much for your participation tonight, and have a great evening.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. America, my home, sweet home.
I just stepped into a history book. We're gonna actually get a tour around Valley Forge. Just really getting to know how the soldiers actually lived in the army. I went to Pensbury Manor.
You're going to look in each bedroom and you're going to see if you can figure out which room is which.
We went to see a movie and it was William Penn's house and it was very awesome.
Walking across the Delaware River, you were right over where George Washington supposedly was crossing.
We are going to Philadelphia and to see the Liberty Bell and other sites there.
I think I'm most excited to go to Independence Hall because it just seems so interesting to learn about how they wrote the Constitution.
I like learning about all the people we've heard about in our textbooks and actually meeting them.
Have you ever heard that I like to perform experiments?
Yes. They walked in and you could barely tell the difference between them if the real one was actually there.
And you can ask them pretty much anything, even if it would have been a perspective from back then, and they'll still give you an answer.
Do you enjoy school? Yes!
Here we get to actually see the things we're learning about.
It's just so cool to see where big historical moments happened. that we've read about.
We don't have any revolutionary buildings in California.
We're from the west in San Diego and there's no snow there.
This is the first time I've been across the country without my parents. And so it's really amazing getting this opportunity.
Being with my friends and being able to play all these games and talk to them at lunch is rewarding more than TV.
It's fun.
It's exciting.
So far, it's been an awesome week.
It's about the best field trip I've had.
It's school on the other side of the country. Why not go?
I loved everything. It's like history coming to life.